All right, we look like we're good.
Okay, our first matter on the executive session agenda is the consent calendar, items 1 and 2. First, does anyone have a desire to pull a matter off of the consent calendar? Okay, seeing and hearing none. Vice Chair, do we have a motion?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the commission approve the executive session consent calendar as presented.
Thank you, Commissioners. You've heard the motion on the consent calendar. Administrator, please call the roll.
Commissioner Resendez Gutierrez,
Aye.
Commissioner McCauley,
Aye.
Commissioner Helt,
Aye.
Commissioner Burke,
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson,
Aye.
Chair Payne.
Aye.
Motion passed 6-0.
Thank you. We're moving on to agenda item number 3, and I believe Mr. Ridgway is appearing by phone.
I'm gonna mute the room real quick while I let him in. All right, they are in, and we should be good to go.
Mr. Ridgway, can you hear me? How do they unmute?
Star 6.
Star 6 to unmute yourself, Mr. Ridgway.
Okay, how's that?
Wonderful. Thank you. Welcome to the Ethics Commission meeting. My name is Shanoa Payne. I am the chair. I just want to sort of lay out how this proceeding will go today. The investigator will give a report, and following the investigator's report, the commissioners will have an opportunity to ask questions of the investigator. Following that, we will provide you an opportunity to make a statement should you choose to do so. That statement will be limited to 3 minutes or less because we have a long agenda today. And then we will open it up to commissioners to ask you questions if they have any of you. And then we will proceed to discussion and a motion on your matter. The only decision before the commission today is whether to move your matter to investigation. No decision will be made today as to whether any violations actually occurred. I want to make that very clear, okay? With that said, Investigator Sullivan, please proceed with the report.
Yes, thank you, Chair Payne and Commission. This is Investigator Josh Sullivan for the record. I'm presenting executive session agenda item number 3. This is a complaint against Jason Ridgway, City Councilor for the City of Monmouth. The complaint alleges that Jason Ridgway may have been met with a conflict of interest when he participated in the Monmouth City Council meeting on April 7, 2026, and stated that he was making a voting decision based on his own home value. During the April 7th meeting, City Council considered the adoption of a legislative amendment and approval of an urban growth boundary land exchange. Jason Ridgway commented on the proposed changes to the Monmouth UGB, stating that he would like to see the cost of housing drop, but he was also concerned about his home value dropping. He stated, "I would like to maintain the home value that I have. That is my dog in the fight, is I don't want my home value to drop, or my home to drop in value by artificially injecting hundreds of homes into the city." The amendment being considered by the City Council would allow land being brought into the UGB to be developed for housing if the annexation and developments are approved. Jason Ridgway owns property near one of the areas proposed for development. Because it appears that the adoption of the amendment could impact Jason Ridgway's property value, it appears that he was met with a potential conflict of interest. Jason Ridgway did not make a public disclosure announcing the nature of his potential conflict of interest prior to discussing, making recommendations, and voting on the matter. Based on the information available in this preliminary review, there appears to be a substantial objective basis to believe that Jason Ridgway may have violated ORS 244-120 sub 2, and the recommendation is to move this case to investigation.
Thank you, investigator. Commissioners, do you have any questions for the investigator? Okay, seeing and hearing none. Mr. Ridgway, now is the opportunity for you to make a statement. And again, we ask that you keep it to 3 minutes or less.
Okay, thank you. First, I appreciated being able to listen to the prior work session as it related to weaponization, and that's an intriguing issue, and I think that probably happens a lot. But as a candidate and an elected official, I think that's kind of what we sign up for, is facing these kinds of challenges, and then we see where the chips fall after an investigation. But yeah, toward this issue. Certainly everything that's on the record that happened, that's recorded. The context, I think, is a little bit is missing, in that, not only would my home value, at least in my belief, be affected with a mass injection of new homes, but every citizen or every homeowner in the city of Monmouth would also have their property values affected. That could have been more clearly stated, and I would own that statement should have happened. As far as a conflict of interest directly, that I benefit in some way or lose in some way, potentially, but no more than anyone else that also owns the property. There are two developments that are going to be considered in our city. One, the smaller one that's near my home, I'm not worried about that one because it's low density and fewer homes, but the larger parcel of 69 acres that potentially could have 800 plus new units built. I think that hurts everybody. So, my comments were off the cuff. I didn't have a prepared speech. I hit on several different reasons why I felt that it was a bad idea. Stand by those. And it certainly wasn't just that one issue that I was referencing and that influenced my decision. I think that the complaint itself was frivolous and animus. I've had interactions with the individual in the past. I think there's some ideological differences, but as I said, that's kind of what we sign up for, and we'll see where the investigation goes. But me stating that my home value is important to me, yes, it is, as it is with everybody else that owns property. And that stands to gain or lose value that we've invested into our community and into our homes by kind of upending the normal supply and demand that impacts our building and our zoning. So I don't think I have too much more to add than that, so I will rest at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ridgway, for your statement and your comments. Commissioners, any questions for Mr. Ridgway? Seeing and hearing none, any discussion? Vice Chair.
Question for our just circle back with our investigator. The argument about class exemption seems to be flying around here. And should this move to investigation, is that something you will look into? Because obviously there could be a class of homeowners that this applies to. I mean, I'm not jumping to your decision for you, but is that something you will look at?
Thank you for the question, Commissioner Thompson. Exactly. That is one of the things that we'd look at if this moves to investigation, just because of the nature of it. We'd have to determine who the class is, whether all the members would be impacted to the same degree. And it is possible that a class exception could apply, but that is one of the things that we could analyze if this moves to investigation.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Excellent question, Vice Chair. I had the exact same one, so you read my mind. Any other? Oh, Commissioner Howell.
Thanks, Chair. I had the same question, and I do have a question for Jason. I was wondering how many homes are actually in the county that exist now?
I'm sorry, how many homes are in the city?
Yeah, the area that you are expanding.
Well, I mean, currently we have a population of around 11,000. I don't know the exact number of current homes, but the acreage that's been at least preliminarily accepted into the UGB is slated for close to 900 new homes at medium density zoning, which contributes at least 10 to 15% above what we currently have in our inventory of homes.
Okay, thank you. I just thought that was important information for the class exemption to be aware of. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Halt. Any other questions or discussion? Vice Chair, are you prepared to make a motion?
I am. Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the commission find there is a substantial objective basis for believing that Jason Ridgway may have violated ORS 244-120 sub 2 and that the commission should investigate accordingly.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Commissioners, you've heard the motion on agenda item number 3. Administrator, please call the roll.
Commissioner Halt,
Aye.
Commissioner Resendez Gutierrez,
Aye.
Commissioner Burke,
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson,
Aye.
Commissioner McCauley,
Aye.
Chair Payne.
Aye.
Motion passed 6-0.
So, Mr. Ridgway, we have moved your case to investigation. As you heard, there was some interest in whether a class exemption applied, but that's something that will be further explored in the investigation phase. Staff will be in touch about next steps.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to agenda item number 4. No one is appearing. And Investigator Pacheco, please proceed with the report.
That's my bad. You were accurate.
What's going on?
I forgot to unmute Daniel. That was my fault. You are good to go.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair Payne, Commissioners. This Investigator Daniel Pacheco for the record. Agenda item 4 in your meeting books is a preliminary review report for Jamie Morris, Budget Committee member for the City of Walport. In this case, Ms. Morris's parent, a relative as defined in ethics law, is a city employee. On June 26, 2025, House Bill 983 was passed and established ORS 244.120 sub 2 sub C, which requires governing body members to disclose a conflict of interest before voting on a budget that includes their own stipends or compensation for themselves or their relative. The complaint in this matter concerns an April 25th, 2026 Budget Committee meeting during which Ms. Morris voted to approve the proposed 2026-27 yearly budget, which included money that would pay for her relative. Because the committee's vote is part of the adoption of the city budget, the exception in subsection 2 sub B sub C appears to apply. However, since Ms. Morris failed to publicly declare the nature of her conflict of interest before participating in the discussion and vote as required by statute, it appears that she violated ORS 244.120 sub 2 at the April 25th Budget Committee meeting. While a response to the complaint was that the class exception would apply such that there was no need for a conflict of interest announcement by Ms. Morris, there was no evidence presented during this preliminary review to indicate that all employees of the City of Walport would be impacted by the budget to the same degree. Because a class exception requires considerable analysis, should this case move to investigation, Commission staff would seek to evaluate the applicability of this exception. Based on the information available in this preliminary review, there appears to be a substantial objective basis to believe that Jamie Morris may have violated ORS 244.120 sub 2, and the Commission should investigate accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you, Investigator Pacheco. We appreciate that. Any questions for the investigator? Commissioner Halt.
Thanks, Chair Payne. Do we know if the budget was an increased budget or it was a status quo budget?
I believe it was an increased budget. The information was very limited in terms of what money would be going into what departments, but it did indicate that there was an increase from the prior year. I hope that answers your question.
Any other questions for the investigator? Any discussion? I'll be interested in more information moving forward, but I do think this is appropriate to move to investigation so we can determine a class exception. Vice Chair, you're prepared to make a motion?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I move the commission find there is a substantial objective basis for believing that Jamie Morris may have violated ORS 244120 sub 2, and that the commission should investigate accordingly.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Commissioners, you've heard the motion on executive session agenda item 4. Administrator, please call the roll.
Thank you. Commissioner McCauley,
Aye.
Commissioner Helt,
Aye.
Commissioner Burke, Commissioner Burke, Commissioner Resendez Gutierrez,
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson.
Aye.
Aye, I was muted, sorry.
Thank you. And I apologize, Commissioner Givens, I have not been calling you for roll.
No.
You're not used to me. Aye.
Thank you. Chair Payne.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0.
Thank you, and apologies, I didn't catch that either. So, Commissioner Givens, sorry for leaving you out. Okay, moving on to executive session agenda item 5. No one is appearing. Again, Investigator Pacheco, and your mic was a little warbly. I don't know if you're able to fix that, but if not, we can still hear you. So please proceed with the report.
Thank you, Commissioner Payne. I just switched over to a new mic, so I hope this is better. So thank you, Chair Payne and Commissioners. This investigator, Daniel Pacheco, for the record. Agenda item 5 in your meeting books is a preliminary review report for Jan Hansen, Budget Committee member for the City of Wellport. In this case, Ms. Hansen's daughter, a relative as defined in ethics law, is a city employee. Because Ms. Hansen failed to publicly declare the nature of her conflict of interest before participating in the discussion and vote on the local budget, which included her relative's compensation, it appears she violated ORS 244.120 sub 2 at the April 25th, 2026 Budget Committee meeting. Should this case move to investigation, Commission staff would seek to evaluate the applicability of the class exception. Based on the information available, there appears to be a substantial objective basis to believe that Jan Hansen may have violated ORS 244.120 sub 2, and the Commission should investigate accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you, Investigator Pacheco. I assume there are not questions for the investigator since this is the same issue, but if anybody has any, please proceed. Seeing and hearing none, Vice Chair, are you prepared to make a motion?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I move the commission find there is a substantial objective basis for believing that Jan Hansen may have violated ORS 244.120 sub 2, and that the commission should investigate accordingly.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Commissioners, you've heard the motion on agenda item 5. Administrator, please call the roll, including Commissioner Givens.
Commissioner Resendez Gutierrez,
Aye.
Commissioner Burke, Commissioner Burke,
Aye.
thank you. Commissioner Thompson,
Aye.
Commissioner Givens,
Aye.
Commissioner Helt,
Aye.
Commissioner McCauley,
Aye.
Chair Payne.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0.
Okay, agenda item 6, and I believe Mr. DeGroot is appearing by Teams.
Yeah, 1 second.
It's a motion to dismiss, don't talk about it. Madam Chair, while we wait, when we get to the end of 8, maybe we take a break.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, they're on and they should be good to go.
Good morning, Mr. DeGroot. Thank you for appearing. My name is Shanoa Payne. I'm the chair of the commission, and we're here to hear your matter, which is number 6 on the agenda. The investigator will provide the report, and commissioners will have an opportunity to ask questions of the investigator. And then we will allow you to make a statement should you choose to do so. That statement will be limited to 3 minutes or less. Keep in mind that the recommendation on your matter is to move to dismiss. And then commissioners will have an opportunity to ask questions of you should they choose to do so. Again, the recommendation is to move to dismiss your matter. And then commissioners will discuss the matter and then vote on your matter. And that's how this will proceed. Investigator Patterson, please provide the report.
Thank you, Chair Payne. This is actually Casey Fenstermaker. I'll be filling in for Silas today.
Oh, okay.
All right. Thank you again, Chair Payne, commissioners. I'm Casey Fenstermaker for the record. Agenda item number 6 in your meeting book is a preliminary review report for Derek DeGroot, Commissioner for the Klamath County Board of Commissioners and member of the Klamath County Economic Development Association's Board of Directors, and we'll abbreviate that to KCEDA, so I don't have to say it multiple times. The complainant alleges that Mr. DeGroot failed to declare a conflict of interest and used his official position as a Klamath County Commissioner for financial gain when he voted in favor of funding KCEDA at a County Commissioners meeting on September 30th, 2025. Based on the information gathered, KCEDA is a 501c4 nonprofit corporation and therefore does not meet the definition of a business with which Mr. DeGroot is associated. Therefore, it does not appear that Mr. DeGroot violated the conflict of interest or prohibited use of office provisions in Oregon government ethics law. And as a result, the recommendation in your meeting books is to dismiss this case.
Thank you, Investigator Fenstermaker. Commissioners, any questions for the investigator? Seeing and hearing none, Mr. DeGroot, now is the opportunity to make a statement should you choose to do so, keeping in mind that the recommendation is to move to dismiss.
Thank you, Chair Payne. I don't have a statement, but did want to make myself available to any of the commissioners should they have any questions of me.
Thank you, Mr. DeGroot. Commissioners, any questions for our respondent? Seeing and hearing none, any discussion? Okay, Vice Chair, are you prepared to make a motion?
I am. Thank you, Madam Chair. For executive session, agenda item number 6, I move the commission dismiss the complaint against Derek DeGroot.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Commissioners, you've heard the motion on item number 6. Administrator, please call the roll.
Commissioner Burke. Commissioner Burke.
Aye. Sorry, I'm having trouble with my mute button.
Thank you. Commissioner McCauley.
Aye.
Commissioner Resendez Gutierrez is abstaining. Commissioner Givens.
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson. Commissioner Helt.
Aye.
Chair Payne.
Aye.
Motion passed 6-0 with 1 abstention.
Thank you, Mr. DeGroot, for appearing today. As you've heard, the matter against you has been dismissed. Okay, moving on to agenda item 7. This respondent is not appearing. Investigator Fenstermaker, are you also handling this matter?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Chair.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Chair Payne. Commissioners, this is Investigator Casey Fenstermaker for the record. Agenda item number 7 in your meeting book is a preliminary review report for Kelly Minty, Commissioner for the Klamath County Board of Commissioners and a member of both the South Central Oregon Economic Development District, otherwise known as SCOED, and the Klamath County Youth Sports Complex, also referred to as the Steen Sports Complex. He's a member of their board of directors. The complainant alleges that Ms. Minty failed to declare a conflict of interest when she signed an intergovernmental agreement between Klamath County and SCOED in 2025, and again when she voted in favor of an agreement to award funding to the Steen Sports Complex in 2024. SCOED is a governmental entity, and the Steen Sports Complex, a 501c3 nonprofit corporation, therefore neither qualify as businesses or businesses with which Ms. Minty is associated. Additionally, there was no evidence reviewed during the preliminary review that indicates Ms. Minty's actions with respect to either SCOED or the Steen Sports Complex would have a personal financial impact on her or her relatives or her household members. Therefore, it does not appear that Ms. Minty violated the conflict of interest or use of office provisions in Oregon government ethics law, and the recommendation is therefore to dismiss this case.
Thank you, Investigator Fenstermaker. Any questions for the investigator? Seeing and hearing none, any discussion? Vice Chair, you prepared to make a motion?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. For executive session agenda item number 7, I move the commission dismiss the complaint against Kelly Minty.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Commissioners, you've heard the motion on agenda item 7. Administrator, please call the roll.
Commissioner Thompson,
Aye.
Commissioner Givens,
Aye.
Commissioner Burke,
Aye.
Commissioner McCauley,
Aye.
Commissioner Helt,
Aye.
Commissioner Resendez Gutierrez is abstaining. Chair Payne.
Aye.
Motion passed 6-0 with 1 abstention.
Okay, agenda item 8, and Ms. Ayers, I believe, is appearing in person.
Yes, one moment, please.
Yeah, that's right there.
Good morning, Ms. Ayers. I'm the chair of the Ethics Commission, and we're here today to hear the matter against you. And the recommendation today is to move to dismiss. The investigator will provide the report to the commission. The commissioners will have an opportunity to ask any questions of the investigator. And then we will open it up to you to provide a statement to the commission should you choose to do so. We will ask that you keep that statement to 3 minutes or less. And keep in mind that the recommendation today is to dismiss your matter. Then the commission will have an opportunity to ask questions of you should they choose to do so. And then we will proceed to discussing and voting on your matter. With that said, Investigator Sullivan, please proceed with the report.
Yes, thank you, Chair Payne and Commission. This is Investigator Josh Sullivan for the record. I'm presenting executive session agenda item number 8. This is a complaint against Laura Ayers, Executive Director for the Oregon Board of Tax Practitioners. The complaint in this case alleges that Laura Ayers may have violated Oregon lobby law when she provided written and oral testimony regarding Senate Bill 1510A to the Oregon Legislature in her official capacity. The complaint alleges that Laura Ayers' testimony was listed as neutral, but her testimony was not objective. It states that she made false and misleading statements in her written testimony about litigation involving the board when she stated that the board prevailed in 3 legal actions related to statutory exemptions for enrolled agents from state licensure requirements. The complaint also alleges that Laura Ayers may have failed to register as a lobbyist with the commission. The complaint also alleges that Laura Ayers may have violated Oregon government ethics law by using her official position in an attempt to preserve her employment-related interests by opposing Senate Bill 1510, and it alleges that she may have failed to appropriately handle her conflicts of interest before submitting testimony. that used the board's revenue loss as an argument against the bill. The information available in this preliminary review indicates that Laura Ayers lobbied on behalf of the board by testifying in front of the Oregon legislature, communicating with legislative officials, and submitting written testimony to influence legislative action. However, the information available in this preliminary review is insufficient to conclude that she spent more than 24 hours or $100 lobbying in any calendar quarter. Thus, it does not appear that she was required to register as a lobbyist with the commission. The information does not indicate that Laura Ayers misrepresented a material fact or that her testimony intentionally misled the legislative committee when she spoke about 3 legal actions related to licensure requirements for out-of-state tax preparers, as out-of-state tax preparers would be impacted by the provisions to enrolled agents in Senate Bill 1510. And the commission does not have jurisdiction on whether Laura Ayers' testimony should have been listed as a position other than neutral on the Oregon Legislative Information System. The information available during this preliminary review indicates that Laura Ayers took action in her official capacity that could have a financial effect on the board, a public body, when she provided testimony indicating, including a statement that SB 1510 would reduce the board's revenues. Although SB 1510 may have had a financial impact on the board, it does not appear that the bill or her testimony on the bill could have resulted in a financial impact to Laura Ayers or a business with which she is associated. Thus, it does not appear that Laura Ayers was met with a conflict of interest when she provided testimony related to the bill, and the information does not appear to indicate that she used her official position to obtain a financial benefit or avoid a financial detriment for herself that would not have been otherwise available. The recommendation is to dismiss this case.
Thank you, Investigator Sullivan. Commissioners, questions for the investigator? Commissioner Halt.
Thank you, Chair Payne. So with the lobbying threshold, it's $100 during any calendar year. What does she make per hour? Because would that factor into the amount of, does she make the threshold just by using those few hours of time to be $100?
Thank you for the question, Commissioner Held. The salary that she makes does not contribute into that $100 equation. The money that she would have spent on lobbying activity would qualify, but not her salary.
So time is not money in this circumstance then?
So the salary would be reported if she were registered. You would report your pro rata salary, whatever portion of your time was spent on lobbying. But that's different from the threshold you have to meet in order to be required to register. And that threshold would be, did she spend $100 on a lobbying activity? Did she spend $100 printing out flyers or ordering flowers for a legislator or something that would be for the purpose of lobbying?
Okay. And then also, I'm a little confused on, in the report, it says that the testimony was not neutral, but then it says that that's not relevant. So if you could help me understand how we found it's not neutral, but then it's not relevant. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for the question, Commissioner Halt. I think the testimony was brought up in the complaint and needed to be addressed as far as whether she made a material misrepresented a material fact or intentionally misled the legislature, but the way the testimony is submitted in the OLIS system, it could be listed as neutral or otherwise, but we can't weigh in on how she should have submitted that testimony. But we do have to look at whether she misrepresented the facts in her testimony, and so that's what we did look at.
Because it says here, it appears the testimony qualifies as lobbying because the testimony appears to be for the purpose of influencing legislative action, which would mean it's not neutral. And so I'm just wondering if that's an ethical violation, if the testimony is not neutral and you're the head of an agency. I'm curious on that. Thank you.
No, so the when you go and submit testimony to a committee, you have to indicate if your testimony is in support, neutral, or against. And as the agency head, you say neutral. It's the legislature that gets to make its decisions. We are there to provide information to the legislature relating to whatever the issue before them is. So that is the purpose of the testimony, to provide information. Then that's a separate question from, is the information she provided, was it a misrepresentation of material fact? Does that answer your question?
No, I think that's kind of my question.
Oh. Okay, so was the information provided a misrepresentation of material fact? Would be the question.
Right. And when we looked at the information that was provided in the testimony, it doesn't appear that that misrepresented material fact. Specifically, the complaint is alleging that the statement about the bill's effects on enrolled agents wasn't related to these lawsuits. It appears that the lawsuits are related, and it doesn't appear that there was a material misrepresentation of fact.
Okay,
Commissioner Hall, if you don't mind waiting just a second. So what I'm going to jump in on Commissioner Hall's sort of comments here. There's on page 57, the report says the commission does not have jurisdiction to opine on whether Laura Ayer's testimony should have been listed as a position other than neutral on OLIS. But I think what Commissioner Helt's getting at is if Ayer's testimony is listed as neutral and then she provides testimony that is actually providing factual information that is negative or in opposition to the bill, is the misstatement that she's providing neutral testimony in fact a misrepresentation in and of itself? And why doesn't the commission have jurisdiction to consider that as a misrepresentation of fact? Can you answer those questions?
So, one, to clarify, when agencies go and present on bills before committee, the governor's office, executive branch agencies, requires agencies to present as neutral, that the agency is not taking a position in support or in opposition to the bill. It is simply providing information. There may be exceptions to that, but you would have to ask the governor's office to grant some exception to that. So the question is, should she have marked it as in support of or in opposition to it? We can't say that she could or couldn't or should or shouldn't, because the determination of what she's allowed to do there doesn't lie with us, it lies with the governor's office. Which is why
I don't think that's the question, though, Executive Director Myers, whether she should have marked it neutral or opposition. The question is, once it was marked neutral and then testimony was given in opposition, was the marking of neutral a misrepresentation of fact to the legislature?
Madam Chair.
I'm just trying to figure that.
Yeah, I see this slightly differently. If she provides facts on the bill and those facts paint the bill in a negative light, they're still the facts on the bill. So looking at the information she provided, on the fiscal impact to the agency. Now, that could be negative to the bill if you are a supporter of the agency, but it's still factual information. So I guess I don't see this as, in my opinion, she provided factual information. Those facts happen to put the bill in a negative light, but it's still factual information. So.
Okay, I'm just asking these questions because I think it's helpful to understand the difference but just merely stating we don't have jurisdiction to consider it, I'm not understanding why we don't have jurisdiction to consider it. Now, if it's not a misstatement of fact, that's one thing, but I'm still not understanding why we wouldn't have jurisdiction to consider it.
So I guess to the extent that how you mark your testimony in support, neutral, or in opposition, you may be correct that if the commission's conclusion is that the facts presented were misrepresented, what the misrepresentation being asserted is that the designation as neutral versus in support or in opposition to was a material misrepresentation. Obviously, I'm concerned that she has no choice but to designate it as neutral, and then if the commission, I understand, if the commission determines that the facts as presented had a misrepresentation, that would be an issue. If the commission determines that the designation as neutral was itself a misrepresentation, that could perhaps fall under the commission's jurisdiction, but basically, I don't want the commission to be in a position where the commission is saying, finding someone responsible for doing something that they are required to do by the procedures set forth by the governor's office and the legislature.
Okay. Commissioner Halt.
So I want to just point out on 54 where it says, it appears that the testimony qualifies as lobbying because the testimony appears to be for the purpose of influencing legislative action. So that to me says it's not factual information. That's what I'm reading, is it's not just factual delivery of things that may or may not support the bill because they're delivering facts. And that's where it becomes confusing to me, because this report is stating that it is lobbying because it's used for the purpose of influencing legislative action, which I'm confused if an agency head can do, all the while labeling it neutral. I think it is a misrepresentation. And so that's my concern. I think we should have further investigation for clarity on this, is where I'm leading. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Halt. Any other comments or questions by commissioners before we let our respondent make a statement? Okay, Ms. Ayers, now is the time for you to make a statement. Please keep it to 3 minutes or less.
I'm just going to touch on, I don't really have a statement prepared. I'm just going to touch on what we were just discussing for clarity. When I spoke to the governor's office, because when you are dealing with legislation, whether you're proposing legislation or you're looking at a bill that's coming and could affect your agency, your avenue to do that is through the Gov office. And I think this is what was being mentioned with Susan and kind of how that's arranged. So what happens is I was talking to the governor's office explaining what the bill would do, the effects of the bill on the Board of Tax. There would be effects. I was told from the governor's office, I can go to the legislation to speak on those facts of how it would affect the board, but my position had to be neutral because if I was against or a negative against that bill, that actually weighs more to the legislature. Like, so if they're saying the board's actually negative against this, there's a stronger weight. Negative is saying I'm here to present the facts. And again, those facts are against that bill because they would affect the Board of Tax, but they were the facts. They were gathered, they were given to my contacts at the governor's office. They were approved for submission before they went through. So these were looked at through the governor's office. My comments, my facts, and the review was said, this will be good. You can go present that, but your position is neutral. And I think that's why boards, while we're saying this will affect it, right? Because we're trying to present the materials as is, that our positions are neutral, because it is that weighted, what they're looking at would weigh more if I was against the bill. And that's not what we're there to do. We're there to present the facts to legislatures so they can understand from a neutral perspective, even if that would go either way for the bill. I hope that clarifies that a little bit more. I don't have anything else except that I respect the agency, government ethics, everything they do. The process was very informative, helpful, and I'm just appreciative of that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Ayers. Commissioners, any questions for our respondent? I have a question. So am I understanding that you took a position as neutral because you thought the legislature would be more receptive to the negative facts of the bill if you had a neutral position?
I want to address who I'm speaking with. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Payne.
Commissioner Payne. No, so the governor's office has said that they are aware that if there's a position on a bill from a board, that position has a higher standing than just like going in as a neutral presenting the facts. So if they allowed me to, and I spoke to them about my position and how the effects of the board would be, and they told me I can't go in on that bill as negative. They said I have to be neutral because that negative position would weight more. I was told that by the governor's office.
So, okay, so to clarify, if you took a negative position on the bill, then the facts you'd be presenting would have more weight, not less.
Correct.
Understood. Okay, thank you. Commissioners, any questions for our respondent? Commissioner Held.
Thank you. Can you, do you feel your testimony was factual?
Commissioner, is it Held?
Yes.
Held. Yes, I do. It was just the facts collected from data and it was approved by the Gov office.
Do you feel like it was lobbying?
Yes, I mean, I think that the standard of lobbying is you go in to address the legislature on the bill while it was neutral and while it was giving that information, there are negative effects. So yes, it is lobbying. My position, I went to the, again, Gov office to say, I would be okay with a negative position. That would give more weight. So they told me I had to be neutral with only those facts.
Thank you.
Yes.
Any other commissioners have questions for our respondent? Discussion on the potential motion? Vice Chair?
I am prepared to make a motion to dismiss based on the based on the fact that this testimony was presented as facts. It was factual, that it didn't go over the 24 or whatever hours of lobbying, and that the governor's office, has this rule. If that rule is something that needs to be addressed, that's a larger discussion than this case. So I'm prepared to make a motion to dismiss this, but I will stand by in case any other of my fellow commissioners wish to make a different motion.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I had some questions going into this, but those questions have been satisfied for me. Particularly, I had some concerns regarding some misrepresentation on the neutral statement, but respondent satisfied those concerns for me. Particularly, I had some concerns that the use of neutral was being used to somehow be cover for having some sort of undermining of using the facts, but it sounds like it was the opposite. So those concerns for me have been addressed, and I'm prepared to support a motion to dismiss. Any other commissioners have comments before we make a motion? Commissioner Halt.
Thank you, Chair Payne. I still have a lot of questions on the neutral while actively lobbying. We just heard testimony that the agency head would rather have been negative, and it feels like that is a little bit of a misrepresentation. But she's going through the process that is put on through the governor's office to be neutral, but I feel like it was a negative testimony. I don't have enough information to know if it's factual or not. And I really would like to have the investigation to know if it was factual, because I think this is a really important process, and we should have clarity on, especially when agency heads have more influence in the legislative process. And so I would really like to see it move to investigation. But I will vote accordingly of what motions are made. Thank you.
Okay, well, let's do this. Commissioner Halt, if you are prepared to make a motion, you can make a motion and we will see if it passes or not. And if not, then we can make an alternative motion.
I've actually never made a motion, so I don't know where all the numbers are. I'd like to make a motion to.
Commissioner Halt, I'm happy to make your motion on your behalf. I'm not committing to vote. I'm not committing to vote for it, but I'm happy to make it on your behalf since I have the book in front of me.
Okay, thank you. I would appreciate that, Commissioner Thompson.
All right. I move the commission find there is a substantial objective basis for believing that Laura Ayers may have violated ORS. Oh man, I don't have the ORS in front of me.
It's at the bottom of the the report, I believe. Oh, maybe not.
Looking at the agenda, but
We're at the top.
standing by. 244040. Is there a sub?
Sub one.
Sub one, and that the commission should investigate accordingly.
There are more.
Yeah,
It would be more than that. It would be
Standing by. Motion withdrawn.
244040 sub 1.
44040. Okay.
It would be
Wrap it up.
171 764.
yes.
764.
Yes. And then conflict of interest, 244.120, sub 1, sub C.
See. Okay, so it's 4.
You have 171,740 sub 1. The registration is
The registration statute, if you want to throw that in there. So 171.740 sub 1.
0. All right, so it's 5.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. I move the commission find there's a substantial objective basis for believing that Laura Ayers may have violated ORS 244-040 sub 1, ORS 244-171.
No. ORS 171.764. There you go.
Okay. ORS 171.764, ORS 244-120 sub 1 sub C, and ORS 171.740 sub 1. And the commission should investigate accordingly.
Okay, thank you, Vice Chair, for that valiant effort. And Commissioners, you've heard the motion on agenda item 8. Administrator, please call the roll.
Commissioner McCauley,
Nay.
Commissioner Resendez Gutierrez,
Nay.
Commissioner Burke,
Nay.
Commissioner Givens,
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson,
No.
Commissioner Helt,
Aye.
Chair Payne.
Nay.
A motion failed 2-5.
Okay, we don't need an alternative motion, is that correct? Or do we?
No. If
No.
you
Okay.
failed to move it to investigation, it is automatically dismissed.
Okay.
But if you wish to do one, you may.
No, that's okay. Ms. Ayers, the commission has failed to move your matter to investigation, which means it is administratively dismissed. Thank you for appearing today, and we appreciate your candor in your statements.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. The commission is now going to take a 10-minute break. We will reconvene at 11:15.
Thank you, Josh.
There we go. Yeah, okay.
Commissioner Payne, are you able to hear us?
Yes,
Okay, good.
just gonna wait until 11:15. Got one more minute. All right, it's 11:15. Do I have Commissioner Halt back? Resendez Gutierrez? Macaulay? I see Resendez Gutierrez. I see Commissioner Macaulay, thank you. Do I have Commissioner Halt back?
Commissioner Burke's here.
Thank you, Commissioner Burke. Okay, well, we have a quorum, so we'll go ahead and proceed for the sake of time. We're moving on to agenda items 9 through 12 on the executive session agenda. No one is appearing. Investigator Fenstermaker, can you please proceed with the report?
Thank you, Chair Payne. Commissioners, I'm Casey Fenstermaker. Agenda items numbers 9 through 12 are preliminary review reports for the Tualatin Valley Irrigation District board members. I'll refer to them as TVID. TVID held a public meeting on October 14th, 2025. During the meeting, which offered a WebEx virtual option, the meeting was muted so that virtual attendees were unable to hear what was happening in the meeting. Additionally, because TVID was using the basic version of WebEx, the length of the virtual meeting was limited to 40 minutes and therefore did not cover the entirety of the meeting, which went for approximately 60 minutes. When a telephone or other electronic means of communication is used in the meeting is not an executive session, the governing body of the public body is required to make available to the public at least one place where, or at least one electronic means by which the public can listen to the communication at the time it occurs. And all meetings held by a governing body must provide, to the extent reasonably possible, the general public with an opportunity to access and attend the meeting by telephone, video, or other electronic or virtual means. Therefore, it appears that TBID violated ORS 192.670. TBID did subsequently purchase a premium version of WebEx in an effort to resolve the issues going forward. Jay Hoffman, one of the respondents in this matter and the current chair, reached out to acknowledge that they made an error, to state that they took steps to resolve it as quickly as they could, and to state that he is available for questions by phone today if the commission has any for him specifically. The recommendation is to move this case to investigation.
Thank you, Investigator Fenstermaker. Commissioners, any questions for the investigator? Seeing and hearing none, any discussion on the matters? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we need to consider these matters individually. And so, Vice Chair, are you ready to make the motions?
I am. Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the commission find there is a substantial objective basis for believing that Joe Finnegan may have violated ORS 192.670 and that the commission should investigate accordingly.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Commissioners, you've heard the motion on agenda item number 9. Administrator, please call the roll.
Commissioner Givens.
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson.
Aye.
Commissioner Resendez Gutierrez.
Aye.
Commissioner McCauley.
Aye.
Commissioner Helt. Commissioner Helt. Okay, Commissioner Burke.
Aye.
Chair Payne.
Aye.
Motion passed 6-0.
Vice Chair number 10, please.
Madam Chair, I move the commission find there is a substantial objective basis for believing that Jay Hoffman may have violated ORS 192.670 and that the commission should investigate accordingly.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Commissioners, you've heard the motion on agenda item 10. Administrator, please call the roll.
Commissioner Resendez Gutierrez.
Aye.
Commissioner Givens.
Aye.
Commissioner Burke.
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson.
Aye.
Commissioner McCauley.
Aye.
Do we have Commissioner Helt?
Aye.
Thank you. Chair Payne.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0.
Vice Chair, agenda item 11.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the commission find there is a substantial objective basis for believing that Alan Jesse may have violated ORS 192.670 and that the commission should investigate accordingly.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Commissioners, you've heard the motion on agenda item 11. Administrator, please call the roll.
Commissioner McCauley.
Aye.
Commissioner Helt.
Aye.
Commissioner Givens.
Aye.
Commissioner Burke.
Aye.
Commissioner Resendez Gutierrez.
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson.
Aye.
Chair Payne.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0.
Vice Chair, agenda item 12.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the commission find there is a substantial objective basis for believing that Jim Love may have violated ORS 192.670 and that the commission should investigate accordingly.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Commissioners, you've heard the motion on agenda item 12. Administrator, please call the roll.
Commissioner Resendez Gutierrez.
Aye.
Commissioner Burke.
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson.
Aye.
Commissioner Givens.
Aye.
Commissioner Helt.
Aye.
Commissioner McCauley.
Aye.
Chair Payne.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0.
Okay, moving on to items 13 through 22. And Commissioner Halt is abstaining from and not participating in these matters. We do have Sean O'Day appearing by Teams.
1 second, I'll get him in.
Sean O'Day is a former commissioner of our board, by the way.
There he is.
Good morning, Mr. O'Day. Welcome. I just learned you are a former commissioner of this board, so you are pretty familiar with this process, I assume, but I'll walk through it anyway. The investigator will provide a report, and commissioners will ask questions of the investigator if they have any, and then we'll permit you to make a statement should you choose to do so, keeping in mind that the recommendation today is to move to dismiss these matters, including the matter against yourself. And then commissioners will discuss these matters, and then there will be a vote on the matters. Keeping all of that in mind, Investigator Fenstermaker, please proceed with the report.
Thank you, Chair Payne. Commissioners, I'm Casey Fenstermaker. Agenda items number 13 through 22 are public meetings law cases regarding the members of the Management Labor Advisory Committee, known as MLAC, a committee of the Department of Consumer and Business Services, known as DCBS. The complaint in this case alleged that MLAC members held substantive discussions while off camera during a meeting that was virtually available through Zoom. MLAC argued that while they make their meetings available to the public, they are not actually subject to public meetings law because of who they make recommendations to, the executive director of DCBS and the Oregon legislature. Public meetings law applies to governing bodies of public bodies. Public body is defined as the state, any regional council, county, city, or district, or any municipal or public corporation, or any board, department, commission, council, bureau, committee, or subcommittee, or advisory group, or any other agency thereof. Governing body is defined as the members of any public body that consists of 2 or more members with the authority to make decisions for or recommendations to a public body on policy or administration. MLAC statutory responsibilities explicitly require MLAC to provide information and recommendations to the DCBS executive director. Case law and an attorney general opinion provide clear guidance that an individual does not constitute a public body, meaning that MLAC is not a governing body with respect to the DCBS executive director. MLAC is also required to provide certain information and recommendations to the Oregon legislature. The Oregon Constitution, case law, and an attorney general opinion all provide persuasive authority that the Oregon legislature is not a public body as defined in public meetings law, meaning that they are not a governing body with respect to the Oregon legislature either. The recommendation is therefore to dismiss each of these cases because MLAC does not meet the definition of a governing body, as it does not provide recommendations to a public body. And therefore not subject to public meetings law.
Thank you, Investigator Fenstermaker. Commissioners, any questions for the investigator? Okay, seeing and hearing none, Mr. O'Day, do you have a statement to make, keeping in mind that the recommendation is to move to dismiss?
Sure. Thank you, Chair. Chair Payne, Vice Chair Thompson, members of the commission. For the record, I'm Sean O'Day, the Director of the Department of Consumer Business Services, Oregon's largest worker and consumer protection agency. By statute, I also serve as a non-voting ex officio member of the Management Labor Advisory Committee, also known as MLAC. And as a disclaimer, I'm also an attorney, a member of the Oregon State Bar, but I'm not here in a legal representative capacity for my fellow MLAC members. First, I want to thank you for your volunteer service and the important work that you do on this commission. I also want to thank the staff for their professionalism and care reflected in this preliminary review. The analysis is thorough, the recommendation is clear, and we agree with it. In anticipation of any questions you might have, and also knowing that this recording will later become public, I want to just briefly speak to MLAC's role and why its meeting structure looks the way that it does. MLAC was created as a result of the Mahonia Hall reforms in the early 90s, when the governor had convened a group of policymakers, labor representatives, and employers to examine and make recommendations on reforming Oregon's worker compensation system. At that time, Oregon's worker compensation system was widely recognized as being broken. Low benefits for injured workers, high cost for employers, and long delays in the processing of claims and the delivery of health care. The changes that came from the Mahonia Hall reforms produced one of the low-cost, highest benefit systems in the country, a balance that we are proud to maintain today. MLAC's structure was intentional, equal representation from labor and management, serving in an advisory-only capacity to the director and to the legislature on any changes to the workers' compensation system. Its purpose is to help preserve the balance achieved in the early 90s by ensuring that any proposed changes are carefully vetted from both labor and employer perspectives. Although MLAC is not subject to public meetings law, nor was it ever intended to be, it has always conducted its meetings publicly and welcomes public input. The caucus process has existed since MLAC's founding. It allows each side to confer internally, much like the caucus process in the legislature, so that when the committee reconvenes, members can present clear, organized positions. This helps MLAC function as intended, not as a decision-making governing body, but as an advisory committee producing thoughtful, consensus-based recommendations. In closing, MLAC remains committed to transparency, the integrity of its process, and to the purpose it serves, which is to maintain a balanced worker compensation system that delivers timely care and benefits to injured workers at the lowest cost to Oregon employers. For the reasons outlined in the staff report, we agree with the recommendation and respectfully request dismissal of the complaint. I'm not sure if I have any other members of the committee here this morning, but subject to any remarks they would like to make, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have of me.
Thank you, Mr. O'Day. I don't believe we have any other members here today. So commissioners, if you have any questions for Mr. O'Day, now is the time to ask them. Seeing and hearing none, commissioners, I'll open this matter up for discussion. Seeing and hearing none, we can make a motion on all of these matters together. Vice Chair, are you ready to make a motion?
Are there any requests to pull any members or any members out of this list? All right. For executive session agenda items 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22. I move the commission dismiss the complaints against Scott Strickland, Emily Cronin, Sarah Duckwall, Ryan Hearn, Stacy Llewellyn, Sarah Merrick, Patrick Priest, Kim Schlesinger, Margaret Weddle, and Sean O'Day.
Thank you, Vice Chair, for the motion. Commissioners, you've heard the motion on executive session agenda items 13 through 22. Administrator, please call the roll.
Commissioner Burke.
Aye.
Commissioner McCulley.
Aye.
Commissioner Resendez Gutierrez.
Aye.
Commissioner Givens.
Aye.
Commissioner Helt is abstaining. Commissioner Thompson.
Aye.
Chair Payne.
Aye.
Motion passed 6-0 with 1 abstention.
Okay, Mr. O'Day, as you've just heard, these matters have been dismissed. Thank you for appearing today.
Thank you, Chair. Appreciate it. Thank you all again for your service on this commission. It's super important work. Appreciate all that you do.
Thank you. Okay, we will be now moving into the other portion of our executive session to consider information or
Commissioner
records
Payne.
exempt from public inspection, and I assume we need to,
Susan will be waiting.
okay,
We need also to switch out the recordings, so.
okay.
You might also want to remind the